moving into a cave high in the Himalayas and setting up his meditation cushion, the renowned Tibetan yogi Milarepa discovered that the cave was inhabited by a company of noisy, mischievous demons. At first, he tried to subdue them, but they just became more boisterous. Does that sound familiar? Realizing that his approach was both violent and futile, he decided to send the demons loving compassion instead, at which point half of them departed. Loosening his grip even further, he surrendered to hosting the remaining demons indefinitely, instead of trying to get rid of them. And he invited them to stay as long as they lived, as they liked. Well, same thing. All but one particularly mean and ferocious demon left. Finally, Milarepa gave up every attempt to control his situation. And with utmost loving compassion, he placed his head in the demon's mouth as an offering. The demon vanished and never returned. Now, this is like our own journey of how we deepen in the understanding of relaxing our resistance, our futile attempt to resist. So first of all, he was willing to go into a cave, and which is like inquiry, right? Looking, going inside. You don't have to go into a cave, literally, but going inside and looking is going into a cave. And when we go inside, what's one of the first things we discover is how noisy it is inside. Right? It's like, oh shit, this is what I've been running away from. And what's the first thing we try to do? We try to subdue it by controlling. Like, I'm going to impose my will on this, on my inner sanctum. And it's really innocent. All this is innocent, right? And we take up practices. And a lot of the times the practices are ways to subdue the noise. And, you know, there's progression here. There's nothing wrong with practices. But like breathing techniques, mantras, one-pointedness, you know, I've done all that stuff. And it, you know, it had its effect and power. But it slowly led me to realize I didn't need to hold on so tightly. We don't need to control. We don't need to continually control. It's a step. But it doesn't really make the noise go away, does it? It subdues it, but it's not really about embracing experience. But we don't know at that time yet that we're meant to embrace, right? It's just kind of, this is a development. Yeah, so he realized his approach was both violent and futile. Yeah, control is kind of violent, huh? And futile. So he decided another technique. He decided to send them loving compassion instead. Who has tried that? I have. It's also, you know, there's a Buddhist metta, you know, metta loving meditation. You smile at everything and you send it loving compassion. All this is a progression. I'm not making fun of any of this. I hope you know that. It's just like learning a language. We have to learn the grammar and blah, blah, blah before we're fluent enough to not think anymore, right? So maybe you've done some of these, maybe not. It's just, we're all different that way. And half of them departed. So it worked. It worked a bit, you know, maybe that's why we keep trying certain things, because it sort of works. If it doesn't work all the way, and then we come back to the drawing board and go, what am I doing wrong? Why isn't it working all the way? shim, shim, shame, blah, 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 right? Whatever's left. Loosening his grip even further, he surrendered to hosting the remaining demons indefinitely. Oh, I give up. And he invited them to stay as long as they liked. That's a very advanced thing, right? I give up. And that's something that can take a really long time. I mean, I'm still giving up. every day. I give up. I give up that even coming on today, not that it was just some tension, but it's all fine. Like when you welcome it and open to it, when there's openness to it, say, the tension can be there. It informs you, it teaches you something. And that's willingness to have it be there is a giving up. The willingness to have anger be there, shame be there, sadness be there is a giving up of control. And that is, the main teaching. But he goes one step further. And he says, all but one left. And says, that technique is not going to take you all the way home. It's like, oops, I've created a technique. We got it at the end that, when you meet the Buddha, what is it? You're supposed to run over him or something, kill him. Yeah, so there's the final technique. You don't know we have a technique until we get, we come to the end of it, right? It works until it doesn't work anymore. And we just kind of give up, and we go, oh my God, this one last ferocious demon is not leaving. And we even give up to that. Like, oh, this one is just not leaving. It's disturbing my peace. This one ferocious demon is still disturbing my peace. I feel like I'm doing everything right. But there's still sadness here. And there's still this feeling of a little trace amount of separation. What am I doing wrong? What's going on here? Help! Sometimes we said that point. It's, and it's like, but there's enough surrender there to know that there's nothing you can do. There's enough to know that you might have to live with this forever, right? They said they invited them to stay as long as they liked. So even that one, right? You're allowed to stay here as long as you like. You might be my dance partner for the rest of my life. But does that sound familiar to any of you? And so what does he do? He places his head in the demon's mouth as an offering. Yeah. So eat me, devour me. I can't fix this. Even with my willingness to welcome everything, I can't fix it. Even that is a strategy that I have no strategy to get rid of the strategy. I just don't know what to do anymore. You get the feeling of it. I can feel it in this room that we share. And it's actually really freeing. We're that free. We're so free that we can be an offering. And it enters the unknown, right? I don't know how to do this. Okay, so I'm gonna open it up. and then all of this, of course, is touching on our subject matter, right? Coming out of hiding. All those, if you were in a cave, if you were Milarepa in a cave, it's just a parable for ourselves, right? It's an archetype. We are Milarepa, right? And we're all going through this journey of looking at ourselves and wanting to lessen our pain. That's what drives it. And we're conscious enough and mature enough to know that dividing up life and dividing up our inexperience and saying some things are allowed and other things aren't isn't the way to go, and just causes more pain, right? So that's the maturity of this group. And then we try all these techniques and ways to be able to open to and welcome. And it's just such a relief to be able to hear from one another and from certain spiritual teacher types that this is the way to go. This is the way to go. There are other spiritual teacher types that will tell you differently, right? I mean, truly, someone's that are very revered, but say that's the garbage can. Going into the garbage can. That garbage is you. That's us. Don't put it out the back into the alley and just have a garbage truck come and take it and dump it somewhere and it doesn't exist anymore. You don't see it. It don't exist. No, our world is filled up with garbage. We're in trouble. It's not working, right? You know. Do you remember in Sesame Street, what was that one creature that would go in the garbage and he would come up, he was, and he was in the garbage? Maybe he knew something. He made it his home. He made the garbage his home. What was it, Blue Elmo?